Get what you really want with the all-new Ford Everest Active 4x4. Value packed with 12-inch touchscreen, black exterior styling and 18-inch alloys. All from just $60K drive away. Get the Everest Active at participating Ford dealers. Get what you really want with the all-new Ford Ranger Wolf Track V6, featuring bold styling, 17-inch alloys and all-terrain tyres, all from just $73K drive away. Ranger Wolf Track at participating Ford dealers while stocks last.
Hey everyone, Tom O'Neill Thorne here. We have a massive season ahead. Follow here for your behind the scenes, game updates and everything in between. Welcome to a new era of wheelchair basketball in Australia. See you on court.
Get what you really want with the value-packed Ford Ranger Black Edition 4x4 with bedliner, 12-inch touchscreen, 17-inch alloys and all-terrain tyres. All from just 53k drive away. Get the Ranger Black Edition at participating Ford dealers.
What's up everyone, Jalen Brown here. I'm currently over in Turkey for the 25-26 Turkish League. I'm excited to get back and kick off this new era of wheelchair basketball with you all. The 2026 season is going to be something special. Make sure you're following along here for updates while I'm overseas.
Wheelchair basketball emerged shortly after World War II after it was developed by injured servicemen. It became a foundation Paralympic sport at the 1960 Games and is now one of the world's most recognisable wheelchair sports. Athletes who play wheelchair basketball have a physical impairment. All players use a wheelchair to compete, although some don't use a wheelchair in everyday life. The court dimensions and basket height for wheelchair basketball are the same as the able-bodied version of the sport, as is the playing time and number of players on court. Wheelchair basketball classifications range between 1 and 4.5 points. Players with a classification of 1.0 have the highest level of impairment, while players in the 4.5 point class have the highest level of physical function to be eligible for the sport. The wheelchairs used during a game are specially designed to support players and help them move around the court. During a match, the classifications of the 5 players on the court are added together and must reach a total of no more than 14 points. The object of the game is to score the most points in the opposing team's basket. The team with the most points by the time the clock expires wins. Wheelchair basketball is a contact sport. The sport is so fast that it can be difficult for athletes to stop in time, meaning contact is inevitable and can result in some spectacular collisions. While contact is permitted and even encouraged, head-on collisions are strictly forbidden and can result in fouls or even ejection from the game. For more information on wheelchair basketball, visit paralympic.org.au.
Get what you really want with the new look Ford Ranger Wild Track. With its power roller shutter, stunning matrix LEDs and premium B&O 10-speaker sound system. And you'll also get a 4K fuel card. That's 4K to take you on even bigger adventures. Available at your participating Ford dealer now.
Welcome to Finals Day at the Australian Institute of Sport's Centre of Excellence. It's Rollers Against the World Challenge, Day 5. We've seen 14 games in the previous 4 days. Today, the final 2 playoff games. Coming up next is the playoff for third place, Australia against Japan. These two teams are very familiar with each other, being played off for the gold medal in the Asia-Oceania Championships back in November 2025 in Bangkok. Just 5 points separated the two teams that day, and they've played twice already at this event. Australia winning by 2 on the first day and then by 3, 57-54 on the second day. So really nothing to pick between these two. My name's Brendan Parnell and I'm joined by Campbell Fraser, a man who can much better explain some of the intricacies of the wheelchair game. Campbell, two obviously evenly matched teams.
Yeah, I think that's been the best part of the matchup between these two teams across the weekend. We've seen they've both had in other games kind of highs and lows. The Aussies versus the Japanese, we have a fantastic relationship with the Japanese team, especially on our younger side, the under-23s. They have a very good connection as well, and it's fantastic to see both of these games get so close. As much as I want to be pushing for the Rollers, I'm really hoping Japan really bring it today. I think this is their big chance to kind of show what they're made of and show just why they deserve to kind of flip that score a little bit. Obviously, the max they've lost to Australia over this weekend, 3 points. That's absolutely nothing. That's something that they are absolutely able to bring back. I'm really excited to see if they can do it.
You would have seen the teams come up on the screen there before as our officials, Helen Rosenberg, Adam McIntyre and Tyler Hodgsons, get ready. Australia, large squad, 16 players. They've omitted Lachlan Dalton, Tristan Knowles, Jeremy Tyndall and Phil Evans today from their lineup to come up with their 12. For Japan, they're using the same 12 players they've used in every game. Starters are available. As you see, the Japanese in their red uniforms, just going through the final stages of their warm-up. The Australians in their gold already in the huddle. For the Australians, it's Frank Pinder, Ethan Laird, Tom O'Neill-Thorne, Jake Kavanagh and Ben Moncrief. While for their Japanese opponents, it's Ryugi Akashi, Iron Man, Noahiro Murakami, Kai Akita in number 25, Takuya Furusawa in 7. He's one of the quickest players you will ever see in a wheelchair. And Ryohei Miyamoto in 18. Both these teams had a difficult day yesterday, Campbell, I think it's fair to say, in the semi-finals. Spain, the European champions, really turning it on to probably a wake-up call for the Japanese. The Spanish winning 80-46 in a tournament that's been notable for close encounters apart from that one. While Australia were bested by Italy as the Italians continued their resurgence in the late stages of the tournament.
Yeah, as much as we're obviously focusing on these two teams, we should give credit to the Italians, how they've played across this weekend. They've gotten better every single game, and it could be a really interesting way to finish off the tournament. Japanese, yeah, they did get a little bit of a shock with how they came up against the Spanish. They've had really good games against the Spanish previous to that across the weekend, and potentially just got a little bit confused as to how they were playing. We saw them slip up a couple times in ways that the Japanese really don't often. They're a very disciplined team. They get their fundamentals very, very set, and we just saw that unravel a little bit. And on the flip side, the Spanish were just dominant.
Yeah, I have a theory that if you come to a tournament like this, both these teams in preparation for the World Championships coming up in September in Canada, that it's actually not a bad thing sometimes to get turned over like that, as the Japanese were. I think you figure out more things than if you were cruising through games. It's really, for want of a cliche, a reality check. And it'll be fascinating to see what type of adjustments the Japanese are able to make today. As we see the players exchanging hand slaps, handshakes with each other and with our three officials. The player with the distinctive long black sleeves there, easily visible on the court, Ben Moncrief, will be in the tip with Kai Akita for Japan. And we're underway. Third pace playoff game. Ethan Laird has to scramble to save that. Back to Frank Pinder. Ball back to Laird. Drives baseline, skips. From O'Neill Thorne with the touch pass. It was a little too hot. So Kavanagh didn't see that coming. Got a bit of back screening jam up in the back court. Frees the way for Murakami to open the scoring. Distinct pace advantage there over Ben Moncrief.
That was just a little bit of lax defense from Ben Moncrief. I think he was more looking to play up on the other side, and wasn't expecting that pass to come through so quickly, and really just giving up his defensive position for that layup.
Ethan Laird left open for the long two. That's a straight. Here he is, one of the Roadrunner brigade. Furusawa, but he's inexplicably turned that over. Laird coming the other way, wheels around the 360. Finds Moncrief, just avoids the charge. Back to O'Neill Thorne, he's cut off. Laird cutting, finds Jake Kavanagh, that's in and out. Kashi slaloming across the floor for Japan. Whips a pass back. Ball finds its way to Murakami. The shot's off. Laird attempts of penetrations, cut off. Triple team around him. Moncrief finds some space at the free throw line. Finds Kavanagh. Shot clock running down. Kavanagh's shot is good. See a blocking foul. And with possession, Murakami. Wheels. Skips a pass to Akashi. He repositions and goes glass for two.
Akita did really well there to set up that play, getting that pinch really aggressively. The Australian defense just not able to jump out, or potentially not wanting to just yet. And that might be something that they need to change up quickly.
As Moncrief finds Frank Pinder inside in the low point matchup, he's able to finish. Murakami again. It's ahead for Furusawa. Back to Akashi. Murakami. Furusawa. Shot fake. Draws the contact. Ethan Laird offers a hand to his opponent there, recognising he was just outfoxed. Furusawa drives baseline. Skip pass. Kashi cuts middle. Gets the pass. That's off. O'Neill Thorne looking long. Goes short. Kavanagh. Laird slows things down. O'Neill Thorne to Kavanagh. Spies a gap. His pass is poked away. Shot clock running right down. Kavanagh draws some contact. Furusawa. His first personal foul. It'll be a shooting foul. Kavanagh's good with both. Akashi, Murakami, he'll roll straight into a three. Lax transition defence there from Australia. Quarter break. Laird. Miyamoto. And then Akita comes, but Laird able to nail the three. Boom. Just a fraction late. The help from Akita there.
Both teams just looking a little bit cold in the way they're playing their defense. I was almost going to say slow, but they're certainly not slow on their defense. Just a little bits of miscommunication and potentially not wanting to jump shooters and allowing them the option to take those outside shots, as we see the Australians really collapsing in their defense and using Ben Moncrief as that big height inside. But the Japanese have the ability to outside shoot. They really can control from there.
O'Neill Thorne looks at three. Shot fake and drive. Gets it back from Laird, who screens. O'Neill Thorne skips Moncrief on the elbow. Off touch, it just won't go. Frank Pinder, fantastic effort to get inside and get the rebound. Finds his way to Moncrief. He converts. Japanese want to have a chat about things the first time out. For all the slowness, Campbell, Australia looking okay, leading 11-4.
Yeah, the Australians looking quite nice on their offensive end. They haven't had all of their shots go, but they've got quite a few good looks. Especially they've had a couple sides where they've played a really weak side, with Frank Pinder and Jake Kavanagh playing one side, both very short players in their chairs, but really being left open by the Japanese, and kind of, I think the Japanese potentially expecting that to be an outside shot, but actually a couple times Jake Kavanagh's snuck under the basket, and obviously we saw Frank Pinder also collect that rebound outside of everyone else who's taller than him on the court. But I think the Australians, on their defensive side, that's where they're going to struggle, and potentially the Japanese want to come out of this firing, because the Australian rollers on their defensive side really aren't just switched on. They don't look like they're responding to what's happening in front of them. They're just kind of playing a set defense, and what happens outside of that just happens.
You quite often see at the end of a week of a World Championship or 8 days that performances can wax and wane, and motivation becomes a really tricky thing to put your finger on. Who can keep pushing through injuries, unavailability, exhaustion? Anyway, Furusawa draws some contact. Moncrief a little clumsy there.
And there's also just a little bit of potentially, all of these teams know that they're not playing for keeps, they're not playing for a trophy, and that's not necessarily a reason to treat it any less important. But there is just that subtle mind game of these games are training games essentially, and potentially that's getting the best of them.
Referee Rosenberg just checking the alignment of the players as they line up. Free throw. Second one for Furusawa's off. Moncrief the rebound. Laird surveys the floor. Drives baseline. Tom O'Neill Thorne assessed with a screening foul there. Doesn't really offer any argument. We see some substitutions. Murakami. Just 4 players in the front court at the moment. Here come the rest of the cavalry. Ball skips inside. Akita balances himself. Just can't get it to go. Laird for Australia. Furusawa, well aware of the danger he presents. Kavanagh again. Cutting middle. O'Neill Thorne found him absolutely in rhythm. Murakami. Moonlighting on transition. Always seems to be down there by himself. He thinks about the three. Skips a pass across to Akita. The shot falls off just. again. Lead for Australia. Bit of a lull in the gym too. We've been used to a lot more noise when one of the European teams is playing. Moncrief comes middle, gets himself organised, but in the meantime, referee Rosenberg says you've been there for too long, or longer than 3 seconds anyway.
And I was just about to comment, and I think it's just come in that the Japanese might want to look at a substitution, throw in a little bit of a change of offense because their offense isn't really working, and that's exactly what they wanted to do.
The gentleman with the long black sleeves in 55, Kozai, he can light it up alongside anybody. As can this man, Takamatsu. His first shot's off, however. Luke Popel under the floor for Australia. And 13. He has the ball now. Gives it back, shot clock running down. O'Neill Thorne releases a three, it's off. That looked for all the world like a screen that wasn't set. That's the way the officials have seen it. Marioma for Japan picks up his first personal.
It's an unfortunate foul to pick up. He was almost there, and if he'd been half a second faster, he was pulling up into his position, but pulling up, not pulled up. Not quite set.
Jordan Bartley kicks it back to Tom O'Neill Thorne. Stephen Elliott's come onto the floor.
Hartley will look for an option. Can't quite find anything. The Japanese defense really controlling. Opal fading away. Won't go, hits side of the board. Japanese will look to push. Outside, thinks about an outside, won't go for it. Kozai looks to slow it down, just kind of indicates to his team slow things down, slow things down. Opal comes in with a little too much contact on the side. And actually that might have been assessed on the Japanese.
Yeah, I think they've reversed that one, Campbell, as we see a timeout from the Australians. Scoring's pretty much come to a halt here. Australia 13, Japan 4. We saw them struggle to score in the first half yesterday of their semi-final against Spain, and the same problems plaguing them here.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing that the Japanese usually come out pretty consistent and pretty safe in the way that they play their offense. Very kind of comfortable and look for simple shots to get their scoring underway before they look to do some more chaotic things later in the game. As they have a few substitutions when they're really feeling it that they like to run to kind of amp up their energy, and potentially they need to put those in earlier just to get the blood kind of flowing. It feels like they're kind of running through their paces a little bit and not really committing to anything.
It would be fascinating to know what vastly experienced head coach Kazuyuki Koyoya is making of this drought that's extended for a whole game yesterday and almost the first quarter today. Anyway, Australia back underway with the ball. Comfortable 9-point lead. Jordan Bartley with it now. It's left wide open. He can make that. Karam's off the front of the rim. Back to Luke Popel. Long shot, long rebound. Bartley again. This time Kozai comes. Popel, O'Neill Thorne. Another snap pass. He's happy to play provider thus far today. Kozai. Calls out Marioma. Kashi. Crossover. Goes baseline. Kozai drives. Kashi cuts for the screen. Another perimeter shot off for Japan. Bartley. O'Neill Thorne. Back to Bartley, drives middle. Thinks about a shot, has to lean back. Makes it. Kozai for Japan, just marooned on 4 points. Just can't get anything going. Kashi just airmails one straight across the rim. O'Neill Thorne holding court, falling out of play. Just left almost open enough. We're inside the last minute, first quarter. Popel wheels and deals. Back to O'Neill Thorne. He has to shoot that. It's off from 3. Japan can almost run this down. Just a slight gap between the shot clock and game clock. Kozai weaves in and out. Finally makes one. Collective exhale of breath from the Japanese bench. Australia with a chance just before the end of the quarter. O'Neill Thorne's aware of the clock, counting down now. Popel, long rolling 3. Short. That'll do us. Australia 15, Japan 6 as we head to a break.
Get what you really want with the new look Ford Ranger Wild Track. With its power roller shutter, stunning matrix LEDs, and premium B&O 10-speaker sound system. And you'll also get a 4K fuel card. That's 4K to take you on even bigger adventures. Available at your participating Ford dealer now.
What's up everyone, Jalen Brown here. I'm currently over in Turkey for the 25-26 Turkish League. I'm excited to get back and kick off this new era of wheelchair basketball with you all. The 2026 season is going to be something special. Make sure you're following along here for updates while I'm overseas.
Welcome back to the Australian Institute of Sports Centre of Excellence. Third place game, the Rollers against the World Challenge, the 5th of 5 days. You can see some of the wear and tear on the players and teams. The good thing for Japan, although they trailed 15-6, is normally you would say for a team to play with as little energy as they demonstrated and to shoot the way they did, you could be down 29 at quarter time, Campbell, not just 9.
Yeah, the Japanese have really looked weak specifically on their offensive side. They haven't had quite the shots that they'd expect, and even the shots that they do expect have somehow just rolled out. I mean, we saw a shot before that went almost a foot above the ring and went straight across. It's not a shot that they're expecting to miss. They're not doing anything unconventional or strange for them. However, their defensive side is absolutely being more what we'd expect of them, and really more controlling that play. I think that's what's keeping them here.
Goes drives middle. Jordan Bartley commits the foul off that skip pass. Ball's in, Kozai. Drives baseline, makes another one. I thought there was a chance we might have seen injection of the elder statesman into the game. Fujimoto. It's been a spark plug for a long time for the Japanese team, but no sign of him yet. Bartley. Picked up by Kawahara, and now by Kozai. Tries to find a pass inside. A hell of a lot of traffic there. Shot clock expires. Really Kane Downey left with an awkward situation. He had 3 defenders around him as he was trying to reel that pass in.
Yeah, that was a difficult little offense for the Australians. Jordan Bartley just getting a little bit too controlling with the ball. I think there was the pass that came down. He could have come in a second earlier. He called for it, and there was just that hesitation, then the pass, and then he was in a little bit of a difficult position by then.
Japan missed another shot. Akashi. Tom Klein almost flips out of his chair for Australia. Now comes up to set a screen for O'Neill Thorne. That pass deflects off Klein. Somehow finds its way across to Bartley. Klein's down again. Officials will stop things now. It's the same spot on the floor. He has a look at his wheel. Officials have determined that was a jump ball. And the alternating possession arrow will give the ball back to Australia. It's a very generous interpretation. They'll get 14 more seconds to operate. Into Downey. Back to O'Neill Thorne. Bartley rolls smoothly into a 3. Looks a mile off. And he has shot the ball pretty well this week. Takamatsu for Japan. Wheels down the left of the floor. Kurosaki. Back to Mariuma. He nails a very, very long 2. Bartley now for Australia. O'Neill Thorne drives baseline, cut off. Some contact there. Foul on Mariuma. Australia's lead just at 5. Early stages, second quarter, third place playoff game. Rollers against the World Challenge, coming to you from Canberra. These teams, of course, qualified for the World Championships as Klein makes a high arcing bank shot. Scrambles back defensively. Mariuma for Japan. Kozai. 3-point opportunity available. He looked it off. Went to Kawahara. The shot's off. The long arm of Klein appears to telescopically pull that in. O'Neill Thorne uses the Klein screen. Pinder, workmanlike as ever, just burrowing his way in there. His pass is deflected.
The Australian offense really kind of getting underneath that basket. They've had almost a few too many options underneath the basket a couple times. Very lucky to get that deflection from the Japanese.
There's O'Neill Thorne, catch and rolling shot off the inbound pass, makes that. Hasn't looked at the basket too many times, O'Neill Thorne, thus far today. Mariuma, the one-on-one situation with Downey. Has his shot blocked by Downey. Klein, who's going to take up the point guard duties there for a second. Thinks better of it. Back to Bartley. Across to O'Neill Thorne. Just made one, now he makes another. 3. Boom. And we'll see a Japanese timeout there. Very keen to stop any runs, Campbell.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the name of the game for them. If their offense isn't quite looking where it wants to be at times, and the Australians, once they get on a run, the Australians, they do absolutely run away with it, especially Tom O'Neill Thorne. Once he starts hitting a few of those shots, especially the 3s, he will comfortably take them for as long as you will let him. I really like the defensive side of the Rollers. They're activating a bit more more consistently. Kane Downey is he's a unique threat for the Rollers in their defensive side. He's a 3-point player, but he's very tall and extremely long arms, and I think the Japanese really didn't anticipate that quite as much as they needed to, as that block was really just a product of that hand not being up in his face right until that shot went up and just smothering the ball.
Yeah, I think the Japanese shooter Maruyama was as surprised as anybody. Australia breaks huddle. Always hard to tell from Brad Ness's face what's going through his mind, and it's a little like the Sphinx. It's not necessarily a bad thing for a head coach. Ball's in for Japan. A little bit of backcourt pressure. They break it easily enough. Maruyama. Takamatsu did a great job to stay in his chair then. Kozai throws baseline. Klein comes to cut him off. Maruyama has to force something. Kurosaki, offensive rebound. Creates another shot for Takamatsu, but that's off. Neil Thorne tries to pinpoint the pass to Klein. He slaps his hands in frustration. Just spilled out of his grasp. Maruyama, Japan. Picks across Kawahara with a bullet pass. Caught a couple of hands. The last one, unfortunately, was a Japanese hand before it landed on the line. Another turnover.
And that was a little bit of an awkward pass from Tom O'Neill Thorne on their offensive side. Tom Klein, he sits quite high and he's a fantastic shooter, but his catching ability, due to his disability, is a little bit limited. So those passes really need to be more dead on, and that pass straight across and kind of through his hands is pretty hard to collect.
Bartley's off. Kozai the rebound. Japan looked to push. Back to Kozai. Been kept pretty quiet thus far. Takamatsu whips a one-hand pass across. Kawahara. Kozai. Shot clock running down. Maruyama can't get it to go. Bartley for Australia. Just a little over halfway through second quarter. Third place game. Reminder, we've got Spain and Italy on the menu later on as Tom O'Neill Thorne continues to heat up. Collision. Jordan Bartley commits the blocking foul there. Takamatsu exchanges a hand slap with him and then makes his way off the floor. And Mikazuki comes on for Japan, or will do, after this timeout. Australia wanting to have a chat about things. They led comfortably, 24-10, doing most things right, and Japan just struggling to find the bottom of the basket.
Yeah, I think it is just that offensive side for the Japanese. Their defensive side is looking really good. Obviously, the Australians have found a way to the basket a few times, and Tom O'Neill Thorne is really to credit for that, with a couple outside shots that have really drawn their defense out. But the Japanese just not able to convert when they're able to get those turnovers. The Australians have had a few turnovers that really shouldn't have happened or shouldn't have needed to happen, and the Japanese just aren't able to convert at this point.
Yeah, their shooting percentage at the moment is just 20%. Or 25%, 5 of 20. It's not going to get the job done most times at international level. We were saying an all-European affair to follow this. Spain have only suffered one defeat in this Rollers Against the World Challenge, and that in fact was Japan that turned them over earlier in the week by 2 points. But back to the game at hand. Kozai wheels around. Soft touch, but it just rolls off the rim. Moncrief is back on the floor with the rebound for Australia. Finds Popel. Probing. He kicks to the corner. Ethan Laird has come back on, goes boom. It's a great spot for Laird. We find him as a spot-up shooter. The pass created some space. We'll see another blocking foul on Australia. That's going to be Ethan Laird. The fouls have been a little bit of an issue for him this week.
Yeah, it's just one of the things about the way he plays, the style that he plays. He's very fast paced and really likes the fun kind of chaotic game where he looks for steals, he looks for fast breaks. And that just does come with a couple of fouls occasionally.
He has two now as Kozai with a high arcing baseline shot. Drags 2 points back for Japan. Laird tries middle, lots of contact. He knew it was coming. He's quite adept waving his arms around and finding the defender who's out of position.
And that's exactly the kind of thing that I was talking about. That fast-paced play that he really likes to run. He likes those fast breaks. He's willing to put his body on the line, and it does show on the defensive end as well. His closeout is quite aggressive, and it can just create a little bit of contact. But on the other end, he will draw a lot of contact and gets to the line quite consistently.
He'll shoot 2 free throws. He did tumble out of his chair there, or his chair flipped forward. Needed Stephen Elliott to provide a little leverage to get him up again. Everybody's flipping around their positions in the free throw lane. It's like a little game of cat and mouse. Laird misses the second. Kozai the rebound. Some screening action in the backcourt. Kozai picked up by Elliott. He does a little into the way, loses him completely. Skips the pass. Drops off again. Laird left open. Probably has to shoot that. Go boom. Scouting report in the bin again for the Japanese. Shot that he will take and make consistently when left with that much latitude. Mariuma for Japan. Back to Kurosaki, back to Kozai. There's a little head fake on the 3. Finds a 2 that he likes better. It's off. Some jamming action in the back court, but we've had a foul in the meantime on Kawahara. And he's pinned, as you can see, right in front of you. Being held out of the action. Japanese will have to cross-match temporarily, but they've left Laird wide open again. Thankfully for them, he doesn't make them pay. Kawahara to Kozai. A couple of minutes remaining. Back to Kozai. The shot falls tantalisingly off. Popel. Wheels. Kawahara tries to stay with him. Kurosaki helps. Laird. This time the closeout's there. And in fact, Moncrief assessed as not being set as he tried to flip that screen.
Yeah, he almost got picked out in that situation and really looked to use it as an opportunity to set up that play really above the three-point line, but it's not really a skill that he's too confident in, and often isn't his role to set those picks, so potentially just coming in a little too hard.
Kozai makes another 2 up to 8 points now, carrying the Japanese scoring. Laird goes the fake shot come pass. Had everybody in the building convinced he was shooting again, but the pass was to Moncrief and it was pinpoint. Moncrief draws some contact. Back. For a second there that nobody was going to line up in the free throw lane. They were just having little internal discussions. They scramble down. You can tell it's the end of the week. Moncrief, second shot is good. Just under 2 minutes remaining, second quarter. Japan have got all to do. Kozai's carried them at the moment with 8 points. Not too much to speak of from the rest of the Japanese lineup. Kozai skips. Mariuma. Kawahara, desperate dive to try and, well, almost dive, to try and save it. Can't do so. Laird brings it up for Australia. Mariuma meets him. Furasaki helps. Shots off. Mikazuki the rebound. Kawahara. Kozai looks at three. Hit short. Laird thought there was some contact coming. Got up on one wheel there, surfing almost. Laird has had a really good first half. Not creative. Finds Moncrief in a favourable spot for him. He measures that shot.
The Japanese just leaving that top line a little bit open. Ben Moncrief is he's a big guy and he's strong in the paint, but actually we've seen across this weekend he really likes to sit on that kind of elbow free throw line area and just go automatic from there. And the Japanese stopping him there, but really letting him get to his position first.
Kozai moves up to double figures with another snappy baseline shot. Wonderful pass from Mariuma. Laird, he's got 10 points of his own. Skips the pass across. Moncrief decides he'll try a three. Could make one earlier in the tournament. Kozai, game clock running down. He leaves Furasaki with a nomination for shot of the week, and unfortunately it collects the side of the backboard. And with that, after a dominant first half, it's Australia 35, Japan 16, and we will be back shortly.
Get what you really want with the all-new Ford Everest Active 4x4. Value-packed with 12-inch touchscreen, black exterior styling and 18-inch alloys. All from just 60k drive away. Get the Everest Active at participating Ford dealers.
I was really lucky to cross paths with wheelchair basketball when I was 15 years old. I fell in love with the sport.
I was doing horse riding and I wanted to play a team sport, and my mum came across wheelchair basketball and I just grew to love it. My muscles have grown stronger, so I'm able to do a lot more things now because of basketball. Yeah, it just helped me a lot in life. I would love to play at the Brisbane 2032 Paralympics and represent the country.
I wasn't 21 until I made my first Australian team, so you've got plenty of time. The most important thing is that you just enjoy your basketball.
By rolling out the start line, we want to build a framework where anyone that wants to become involved in parasport can find and navigate their way through to the opportunity that's local, that suits their needs.
Parasport's the best. You meet people that are just like you.
Times can be really tough. You're going to have some really, really frustrating days. It's okay to ask for help, but I promise you things do get better, and Paralympic sport can play a huge role in that.
Have a go. When we move out of our comfort zone, we surprise ourselves.
Not in my wildest dreams did I imagine that direction my life has taken, and I'm extremely thankful for it.
Just try it. You'll just grow to love it, and you could probably play it for your country.
Hey everyone, Tom O'Neill Thorne here. We have a massive season ahead. Follow here for your behind the scenes, game updates and everything in between. Welcome to a new era of wheelchair basketball in Australia. See you on court.
Get what you really want with the all-new Ford Ranger Wolf Track V6, featuring bold styling, 17-inch alloys and all-terrain tyres, all from just 73k drive away. Ranger Wolf Track at participating Ford dealers while stocks last.
Welcome to this very special occasion, a celebration of the 2000 Australian Paralympic team.
It's so great just for everyone to come together and reminisce, and it's like a massive reunion.
To be here with everyone's just so special. It makes me almost cry with joy.
So wonderful to be back here after 25 years. So many people that got to share such unforgettable memories because it was the first time we had the Paralympic Games in Australia.
We all have a bond that can't be broken because we all experience something that is a part of our lives.
All of what we're here for, we have to develop the athletes, the kids with disabilities, to believe that they can achieve.
Sydney 2000 showed that the Paralympic Games can be as good as a host city chooses to make them. It filled stadiums, it filled arenas. It set the benchmark for the athlete experience.
Sydney 2000 changed everything. Let's just take the Paralympic movement to a place where it had never been before.
People with disabilities can, and I think Sydney said to us, we can.
Australia changed the face of Paralympic sport forever, and I couldn't be prouder.
My favourite memory from the Sydney 2000 Paralympic Games was actually carrying the torch into the stadium for the opening ceremony of the Games. Before I was about to carry the torch, there was going to be 2.2 billion television viewers.
The advice to the athletes is seize all the opportunity you have. The athletes that assembled here today are an example of the hard work and the legacy that can be left by a group that's come well before you. The best way that you can honour, respect and thank the past is to make sure you take care of the future by working hard and embracing every opportunity that you have at the moment.
What's up everyone, Jalen Brown here. I'm currently over in Turkey for the 25-26 Turkish League. I'm excited to get back and kick off this new era of wheelchair basketball with you all. The 2026 season is going to be something special. Make sure you're following along here for updates while I'm overseas.
Get what you really want with the value-packed Ford Ranger Black Edition 4x4 with bedliner, 12-inch touchscreen, 17-inch alloys and all-terrain tyres, all from just 53k drive away. Get the Ranger Black Edition at participating Ford dealers.
Wheelchair basketball emerged shortly after World War II after it was developed by injured servicemen. It became a foundation Paralympic sport at the 1960 Games and is now one of the world's most recognisable wheelchair sports. Athletes who play wheelchair basketball have a physical impairment. All players use a wheelchair to compete, although some don't use a wheelchair in everyday life. The court dimensions and basket height for wheelchair basketball are the same as the able-bodied version of the sport, as is the playing time and number of players on court. Wheelchair basketball classifications range between 1 and 4.5 points. Players with a classification of 1.0 have the highest level of impairment, while players in the 4.5 point class have the highest level of physical function to be eligible for the sport. The wheelchairs used during a game are specially designed to support players and help them move around the court. During a match, The classifications of the 5 players on the court are added together and must reach a total of no more than 14 points. The object of the game is to score the most points in the opposing team's basket. The team with the most points by the time the clock expires wins. Wheelchair basketball is a contact sport. The sport is so fast that it can be difficult for athletes to stop in time, meaning contact is inevitable and can result in some spectacular collisions. While contact is permitted and even encouraged, head-on collisions are strictly forbidden and can result in fouls or even ejection from the game. For more information on wheelchair basketball, visit paralympic.org.au.
Welcome back to finals day at the Rollers against the World Challenge. It's Australia against Japan, third place game, as we have a look at a few of the highlights from the first half. Most of those coming from Australia, who've been pretty dominant in the first half, Campbell.
Yeah, the Australians are looking really effective on their offensive side, and just finding opportunities to obviously get some breaks inside the paint, and a couple players that wouldn't normally be the high scorers. Ethan Laird is the highest scorer for the Australian side, 10 points. Tom O'Neill-Thorne narrowly behind him with 7. Tom O'Neill-Thorne having taken a couple threes and really been that outside shot, as well as Ethan Laird. The Australians not really finding anything inside yet, and that's potentially something that they'll look to change up and utilize this lead as a bit of a chance to find those shots and really focus on getting that opportunity. Whereas the Japanese, they've done everything right, their shots just aren't landing. And I think this is a similar thing that we talked about yesterday in a couple of the Japanese games, where their shots really just weren't quite falling, and they weren't utilizing the turnovers towards their advantage. As we see, the Japanese have less turnovers than the Australians, but they just haven't been able to convert on those opportunities.
Yeah, they're being rebounded out of the building, 24-14, and in a familiar pattern, Australia's different spread of scoring, that 4 made 3-pointers to 0 for Japan. And they've managed to convert 5 points from the free throw line. Japan yet to find a single point there. It's really just not as many avenues to offense for Japan as the ultimate raw number of 16 Japanese total would indicate. That's not going to get it done in very many games anywhere. So all to do for Japan as they get play underway, second half, and there he is, Fujimoto. We thought we might see him inserted. He comes up shooting. First touch, can't get it to go. He'll certainly add something, the man with the long black sleeves in 13 in the red uniforms. Japan, of course, in the red, Australia in the gold. Whistle goes early. Frank Pinder just took a tumble there. Australia setting up an interesting baseline out of bounds. Long pass to Laird, gives a little bit of a body shimmy. Makes his way down to the baseline, looks inside Kavanagh. Rush that a fraction. Iron Manakashi pushing. Head down, that familiar pose. Fujimoto. He takes up the responsibility, nails it too. There's no doubt that he will feel the need to add some spark to this offense. O'Neill Thorne finds a cutting Laird. Can't get it to go. Just release that a fraction early. Anyway, offensive rebound. Ball comes back to him. He wheels around a couple of times. Kicks it across. Shot off from Moncrief. He gets another chance. A couple of hands despairingly towards his face, but they're unable to block that. Kashi kicks ahead to Mariuma. Gets it back. Kurosawa. Just think of that speed that he has. Haven't seen him in the open floor yet today. Zakashi releases a baseline jumper. It's off. Moncrief, the rebound. Neil Thorne, hand off to Laird. They've been the primary ball handlers for Australia today. Laird drives baseline. Thinks he's about to get contacted. Tumbles out of his chair across the baseline, but O'Neill Thorne knocks down the shot from the pass he had thrown before exiting. Kashi, head down, pushing. Nothing there. Waits for players 4 and 5 to make their way down the floor. Skip pass, Fujimoto. Gets the pass off to the youngster, Kurosawa. He shoots a 20-footer about 18 feet. Unfortunately for him, just hasn't found his rhythm today. Kavanagh for Australia.
Laird looks to go, finds his line and will make it. Again, playing towards the speed that he has.
Ball back to Japan.
Laird did everything perfectly in that situation and just unlucky.
Kurosawa wheels around. Fujimoto, no look pass. Something more like it. I always like to see his trickery. He makes another 2.
Fujimoto has kind of become that as well as Kozai, really, the substitution that the Japanese put in just to get a few scores underway and just settle things and kind of play up to the strength that we've seen a lot of teams come at Japan with. Japan play very consistent and solid, but they don't tend to play with a lot of aggression, and Fujimoto really brings that in with him. He's played here in Australia in the National League before, and he knows the attitude that the Australians come with, and he's willing to take it to them.
Yeah, you sense that players enjoy playing alongside him. He's been a fixture in the Japanese team for a long time. I was going to say age unknown, but I think he's in his 40s now, Campbell.
Yeah, I think he's early 40s, if I remember correctly. Yeah. He's a mountain of a man, and he's one of the most lovely people. If you meet him off court, he's absolutely lovely, really friendly. But on court, he is a terrifying figure, especially the speed that he comes with for his size. It is a power move.
Coach Brad Laird didn't like something there. Australia just turned it over before they called the timeout. An over and back violation, just a loss of concentration. Still Australia by 21. Early stages, third quarter. Third place game. It's been a fantastic 5 days of basketball here. Basketball Australia doing a great job to get these 4 teams that are headed to the World Championships in the one building. Fujimoto, Kurosawa gets right into the teeth of the defence. Finds Mariuma, who knocks that down.
The Japanese have a really nice offensive set there. When they get it right, they get that dive inside, and they know that they're not taking that dive. that inside shot, but they kick it outside and the defense really can't respond to it. They've done it a few times and finally able to get it to land, but it's a really nice play that forces the defense to move.
Moncrief with the sidearm pass there. Back to O'Neill Thorne, who's threes off. Fujimoto, the rebound. Australian tumbles to the floor in the background. Furusawa, flip pass again. This is more like it. Mariuma inside, just a little hard with that layup. Ethan Leach does a good job of selling that out of bounds call to the referee. Really deserved to lay up those two no-look zing passes, Furusawa and Fujimoto. Thorne feels the pressure in the backcourt, wheels back around, finds Hartley in the front court. He comes back to O'Neill Thorne. Give and go. Tom won't believe he's missed that. Kawahara on to Akashi. Back to Fujimoto. Touch pass again. Furusawa. Just can't get it to go. Perfect spot. Right shot. Wrong result. O'Neill Thorne. Furusawa does a great job to get over that screen. Pass a little wayward. Hinder finds some contact, but Furusawa, with that blinding speed, got there and drew an offensive foul.
And I think you said the the exact right thing. Right shot, wrong result for the Japanese. That's been every shot that they've taken is a shot that they've hit earlier in the weekend, and they have been consistent and know they can be, but they're just not finding those lines.
Akashi goes with the creative nomination there, the wide arcing finger roll. Gets it to go. Back to 17. Partly for Australia. Laird. Two wheels around, does a 360, just for good measure. Ball comes back to him, he's got Kawahara. Back to O'Neill Thorne. Sideways. Three. Boom. Japan want to talk about it. It was just looked like they were inching their way back into the game. Tom O'Neill Thorne just makes a shot most other players wouldn't contemplate taking.
Yeah, and the Japanese, I suspect they'll have to talk about that one, but potentially not wanting to talk about that play is Tom O'Neill Thorne just showing his absolutely incredible shooting from above the three. He's been allowed to do that a few times this game, but also across the games that they've played against several teams. Just getting left alone. I think that, as you've said a couple times, the scouting report is sometimes gets a little bit lost with the shots that the Australians are allowed to put up in positions that they really shouldn't be allowed to. We've seen that from Tom O'Neill Thorne's three, and also Ben Moncrief sitting on that foul line. So you'd be questioning how those shots have been allowed to be taken.
I'm going to give the Japanese a pass on that one. That was O'Neill Thorne coming up on a curl, caught it, and he was into his shot with his wheels were still facing the sideline. Just snapped off and hit nothing but net. It's out of the hours of preparation, or a lifetime of preparation shooting, to be able to do something like that. Murakami's back on the floor for Japan, comes up shooting. He's off. Laird. Picked up by Akashi, in fact stopped by Akashi, wheels back around. Elliott finds his way to the hoop, goes finger roll, makes it. Furusawa. Murakami's taken the place of Fujimoto as the designated offensive spark plug for Japan. Ball's turned over. Laird almost takes a tumble. Elliott's off and rolling. Probably has a lane to the basket. Murakami comes across. Gives him a bump. Elliott looks at the official, but nothing doing. Falls into Laird. Late closeout. Bit of a lane through the... Tries to draw some contact and does. Japanese look a little bemused. Murakami's going, who me? Don't think he thinks that he made any contact. You could see Ethan thinking there was going to be some clear contact, and yeah.
It's one of the pitfalls that Ethan Laird has in the way that he plays. He 100% expects contact to come into him, and he plays into it quite beautifully. But he does play expecting that contact, and it's been a thing for him to learn over the years, and he's gotten extremely good at it. Is not letting himself throw off his shot before that contact comes in.
Australia 47, Japan 24. There's 3 minutes remaining, third quarter. Tom O'Neill-Thorne slaps that shot, or attempted shot, out of there from Furusawa. $11 seconds for Japan to operate here in the half court. Kashi. Murakami. Furusawa, another one off. Laird, a bit of a collision in the middle of the floor. Bartley with it for Australia, just surveying what's going on behind him as well as in front. Skips it back to Laird, back to Bartley. Kashi scrambles to stay in front of him. Ball gets to Popel, back to Laird. Shot clock expires. Nice interchange of passing, just maybe one too many.
Yeah, and that was really good defense from the Japanese, really controlling that passing lane and forcing those passes to stay really high up. I like that idea. They're not collapsing in anymore. They were doing that a little bit earlier in the game, collapsing into their defense and just letting the Australians do what they want. And I think they've really found their energy a little bit late in the third quarter, but really not going down without a fight.
Kashi sees another mid-range shot, jump in and out. Story of the day for Japan. Hariyama tries to cut off Laird. Takes a bit of a bobble, like there was some contact. Short shot clock now. He's looking to the bench for a signal. Gets one. Ball in. He pops back straight out to the corner. Can't make the three. Kashi. Murakami. Wayward pass, which is somehow reeled in. Shots off from Kawahara. Bartley in the backcourt, gets it over the timeline. Popel checking behind himself. Draws some contact from Murakami. Ethan Laird down again. He's just taking a breather. There's the push-up. Jordan Bartley lends a hand. He's up. First one's off. For anyone who gets an opportunity to tune in today, the championship match here, two of the louder and more boisterous benches you would ever want to hear. There'll be nothing like a little bit of a lull and silence here at the moment. Nothing doing later on when the European teams, Italy and Spain, tangle. Murakami's shot is off. Laird the rebound. There's a sideways bounce pass. Elliott. Playing guard there for a second. Ball back to Laird. Screen from Elliott. Laird goes middle. Finds a cutter. Sam White just got a little under the rim there. Tricky for the lower point players moving at that speed. Popel wheels around. Laird getting towards the end of the third quarter. Just a couple of possessions remaining. Popel drives baseline. Can't get the layup to go. Murakami, Japan could have fell for the last shot. They force it up. Murakami gets inside, offensive rebound, and is fouled.
That was just a little bit of what I would call a lazy layup on the Australian side. So I think that there was a chance to take that shot as a proper kind of normal form shot. And Luke Popel opting for that kind of scoop layup that's a little less consistent and didn't quite have the pressure on him to really force that. I think that's been a little bit of the experience of the Rollers, is just putting themselves in positions that they don't necessarily need to. Obviously, they have the buffer that they can play around with a little bit here, but probably not the standard or the habit that they should be getting themselves into.
We're looking for the last shot of the quarter. And halt for a second so Popel can get himself back upright. Yeah, the roof of this building was almost lifted off the other night. Spain and Australia, they could feel the electricity in here as Australia had a large lead and Spain launched a stunning comeback. Popel, long two. That's off, and that'll take us to three-quarter time. Australia with the comfortable advantage, 47-26 over Japan.
Get what you really want with the new look Ford Ranger Wild Track. With its power roller shutter, stunning matrix LEDs, and premium B&O 10-speaker sound system. And you'll also get a 4K fuel card. That's 4K to take you on even bigger adventures. Available at your participating Ford dealer now.
Hey everyone, Tom O'Neill Thorne here. We have a massive season ahead. Follow here for your behind the scenes, game updates and everything in between. Welcome to a new era of wheelchair basketball in Australia. See you on court.
Welcome back to the Australian Institute of Sport. Just the final quarter remaining for these two teams after 5 days of incredible action they've been part of, Australia and Japan. This is the 15th game that Basketball Australia has hosted here at the Centre of Excellence at the Australian Institute of Sport. 4 of the teams who've qualified for September's IWBF World Championship in action. Spain and Italy on the bill later on in the championship game. Australia and Japan tussling here for the third place position. It's been pretty much all Australia. Japan just unable to get anything to go offensively. Not the quality of shots, just the result. The bench is not quite organised. Referee Rosenberg just communicating with them. Brad Ness with a couple of very last minute instructions. Jordan Bartley gets us underway. Auspicious start there for Australia. That first shot's long. Kavanagh, Kozai for Japan. Throws a no-look pass. Takamatsu. Haven't seen a whole lot of him. He makes that layup. Gets caught up with another chair, but it's free now. Neil Thorne, the outlet pass. Downey. His long arms just holding the ball away from Mariuma there. Neil Thorne uses the C-bar screen. Taking C-bar onto the floor for Australia. Kozai, lovely bounce pass. Takamatsu wheels around. And Neil Thorne with the quick hands. I think he thought he got that clean. Gives Takamatsu a pat on the shoulder. They exchange a joke. He's got a bag full of jokes and anecdotes, Tom and Neil Thorne. Always a glass half full person. Ball skips around for Japan. Shot's good. Mariuma there. Kavanagh with the hook pass down the floor. And Neil Thorne uses the Bartley screen. Downey comes to set some sort of screen. Kavanagh off again. Akashi, Japan. Hook pass inside. Mariuma looks at the layup, can't get it to go. Bartley weaves across. And Will Thorne, Kawahara stays expertly in front of him. Lob pass, Downey, long arms come in handy, makes the layup.
And that was really unfortunate on the Japanese offensive end just before. They played the variation of the offensive set that they've been trying to run with that inside cut actually working, and not able to convert that. I think that's been the story of this game, is just their inability to convert in everything that they're setting up perfectly. They're getting themselves in position and just not getting the finish.
I don't know what Tom O'Neill Thorne was expecting there. He threw a lob pass down the floor. I think he thought somebody was going to release to it. Nobody did. Just gently rolled over the baseline. Kozai. Kashi runs a blur cut across the front of him. Gets the ball back up a skip from Mariuma. Drives baseline. Back to Mariuma. He's been left with a lot of the shooting responsibilities as the spare man. He makes that. He's up to 6 now. Points, that is. Trio of rebounds to go with that. Kavanagh cut off. Kozai swatting at the ball. O'Neill Thorne reaches a long left arm to reel that in. Hooks the ball across to his right and throws a fantastic pass in one motion. The layup won't go. Takamatsu kicks to Kozai, elbow. Nice closeout from C-Bar there to prevent a shot that Kozai can make. Kawahara drives middle, hooks a pass back. Another 2. Mariuma again. It's been the outlet off nearly all the penetration for Japan. Bartley. Kicks it back. O'Neill Thorne looking for a seam, can't find one. Launches a sideways off the hip shot. Kozai the rebound. He sees a lane. Looks inside. Takamatsu is fouled.
And Japanese just showing a few signs of life on their offensive end. They've actually found those shots, found the drive, and they're really making the rollers work. I think that they're really putting the defensive pressure on, and forcing a couple awkward shots from the rollers and converting a lot faster. That's what we've liked to see previously from the Japanese, is their ability to push those rebounds when they get them and potentially collecting a few more of those. Although I suspect that's why the rollers will put Ben Moncrief back on. It's just to shore up those rebounds and really not give any extra opportunity.
Australia, after that foul, making a platoon of substitutions, 4 in total. Hopefully, one of the new men. Exchanges passes with O'Neill Thorne. Tom Klein on the floor. O'Neill Thorne. Popel drives baseline. Kozar tries to cut him off. Good screen from Klein. Ball gets inside of Moncrief. Fantastically quick hands. Kawahara. Moncrief did not see him coming.
It's potentially a little too late, but the Japanese will really be, I suspect, watching back this last quarter and just seeing what changed in the way that they're playing. That attitude has really come back. Their drive and their want to win really just showing up a bit more.
Mariuma's shots off. Takamatsu almost the rebound. Popel, 2-on-1 break, throws the behind the back pass. A little speculative, and while he was trying to get organised to throw that pass, he careened into the wheel of Akashi.
I think he was having just a little bit too much fun there. I think he very clearly had the passing lane for about 5 seconds before he made that decision. But I think obviously the home crowd, they're feeling good. Obviously they've got the advantage. They can afford to put down a play or two, and just having a little bit of fun.
Yeah, it's a tricky pass at the best of times, that wrap around behind the back. You've got to get around the chair as well. It requires quite some dexterity. That's why you'll quite often see players, like particularly Fujimoto, just flip the ball behind their head. A little smaller arc to cover, but it's one of those don't try this at home things, that it requires a high degree of skill and practice.
And especially in the chair, that pass around the back can land kind of awkwardly for the receiver, actually. And potentially that's one of those passes that when you know your teammates well, we've seen the Australians do it a couple times with their fast breaks. There's a couple players that really like playing that style. But it's always a risky thing because your receiver might just not be on the same page as you.
So Japan down 13. Battle manfully here. Still clocked on the screens, a little ahead of the game clock in the building. 5 minutes remaining. Inside cut. Kawahara, that would have been key. Can't get it to go. It looped in and out. O'Neill Thorne with the left-hand handoff. Popel. Maybe looking for the skip pass back to O'Neill Thorne. There it is. Back to Popel. Skip. Back to O'Neill Thorne. Lines up a 3. Won't go. Longest arms in that rebounding contest for Tom Klein. Makes the putback.
Again, those boards just being a little bit difficult for the Japanese to pull in. Tom Klein is big and tall, but he doesn't have as much control on the high end of that rebound. And the Japanese just letting it go a little bit.
Mariuma, soft touch. Pushes his total up to 10. Japanese, a little bit of backcourt pressure, seeing if they can prize a turnover from Australia. Popel goes cross court, Klein releases. Shot clock winding down. O'Neill Thorne to be aware of that. He whips across. Fake crossover, goes back. Moncrief going middle, shot clock being counted down in the background by the Australian bench. Moncrief shot short. Kozai catch and outlet in one movement. Takamatsu leaves it short. That'll be disappointing for the Japanese again.
I suspect the first the first training session that they might have when they go back home is essentially an intensive on shooting. So they've gotten so many times to that position, those fast breaks and also their outside shots, where everything is lined up for them and just not dropping quite in the right spot. So it's an unfortunate thing when they're doing everything else perfectly.
Kozai, a couple of fakes, drives baseline, skip pass. Mariuma's shots off. Moncrief just skipped that pass nonchalantly. Tom O'Neill-Thorne. There's not too many other people in the building could have caught that with one hand above their head. Tom did. Moncrief wheels around. Back to purple. Shot clock pressure again. But Mariuma raises his hand. He's committed the personal foul. That'll be his third. Japan want to have a talk about it. A little more time, just got a clock problem there. A little more time remaining than you can see on the screen. Just under 3 minutes. Australia holding that 13-point advantage. An opportunity for Brad Ness to look at some end-of-game situations in how do you retain a lead. Shore down the situation. We saw the Spanish so adept with that yesterday. Damaji came on the floor and became their functional offensive piece on every possession. It finished with Damaji isolation. He was able to cook up enough scoring and chew enough clock that it really didn't let their opponents back into the game.
Yeah, and that's always been a little bit of a concern for the Rollers for years, actually, that the way that they finish games isn't always how they've started them, I guess. They like to come out firing and be pretty aggressive. We've seen that in a couple games across this weekend. Tom O'Neill-Thorne really setting the pace with a few early threes. That's what he's kind of become known for. But it really is down to how they finish their games. They've looked strong through this quarter and potentially just towards the end, really making sure that they keep it right up until that last second.
My apologies there. Did I say Spain? It was, of course, Italy in their win over Australia. Damaji down the stretch. Dominating. Moncrief misses. He tried not to reach in, but he did. That'll be personal foul number 4 for Moncrief, and probably the last thing the Australians wanted, putting the Japanese on the free throw line. With the clock stopped. Mariuma, that shot almost settled on the rim without going in. Eventually, gravity had its way. Makes the second. A little under 3 minutes remaining. Australia 51, Japan 40. Ignore that clock on the screen. As we see Australia. Another turnover, offensive foul.
I think that might have been collected by Ben Moncrief. That might be number 5, if I read that play correctly.
I think we've just seen a substitution. Should confirm that, Campbell. Klein closes out on Kozai. Fujimoto snuck onto the floor these last couple of minutes. He's the last man you want if you're Australia. Kozai. Drags it back to 9. Bartley skips a pass. The Iron Man was there, Akashi. Head down, hand in the passing lane. Klein heads to the bench. Coach Brad Ness going with a smaller lineup, a little more ball handling. Ethan Laird comes on for Klein. Really, this tiny lineup Australia has on the floor at the moment. Ball to Laird. Should be able to stretch the Japanese out, but as the shot clock expires, Ethan Laird comes up with a shot that's well short. And with the ball, Fujimoto. Both the long sleeves on the floor at the moment. Fujimoto with the ball and Kozai. Touch under 2 minutes remaining. Fujimoto goes 3. Can't get it to go.
And that's been a relatively consistent thing that they've done when Fujimoto comes onto the floor. He likes to take that early 3, kind of get himself set, and potentially also just show himself as a 3 risk, and hope that the Australians respond to that and look to jump him. He's got a lot of speed that you don't necessarily expect, and he looks to drive after faking out those 3s.
Australia with another bad turnover. Mariuma the late.
The Australians will look to push, look to answer at least a little bit here. Laird bringing it. Think about 3, probably won't look to waste that much time.
Wheels
it back out again. Considering that 3 again goes up for it, won't make it this time. Fujimoto will look to push it.
Kozai left wide open. Can't get it to go. Clock ticks down under 45 seconds. Northbound will be trying to chew up some of that. Bartley's going to have to force something here. He has it poked away. Australia's in circus shot clock length. To be catching Hoyk. Taps it back. Bartley rolls into a 3. Almost goes. Frank Pinder from nowhere. Layup. Japan want to talk about it. I would suspect as much as anything, Campbell, to have a look at late game situations. They trail by 9. The game's probably gone, but strategically there's still things to be gained.
Yeah, I think in this position, when you've got this possession with only a few seconds left on the clock, you'd be looking at pretend this game is 1 point, pretend it's even, and we've got the last opportunity to score. How do we convert? Who are our options? And potentially they'll be looking at 3, although I suspect that they might actually move in for their little inside 2 that they've been really consistent from. Maruyama has been really, really effective in bringing up that scoring. He's the highest scorer for the Japanese now. Kozai was holding that for a while. But the others on the Japanese side have just been a little bit quiet in the scoring tonight. And I think that's what's let them down a little bit, is usually the Japanese spread their scoring across quite a few players the same way that the Italians do, that we'll see a little bit later. And they just haven't been able to find those options through various avenues, and they've had to rely on 1 or 2.
A lot of contesting in the backcourt there. I don't know if they realised the ball will be advanced to the front court. Just making things difficult. Just under 20 seconds remaining. The clock ticks down. 18-17. Kozai drives middle. Nice pass inside. Mariuma finishes. Will the Japanese be coming up, trapping, fouling here? No, they won't. Ethan Laird waves a hand. The Japanese allow him to move the ball across halfway. And that'll do us... I won't say the Japanese gave the Australians a scare there, but they did demonstrate that there's... you can't get casual with any lead at the international level.
Yeah, I think the Japanese absolutely showed their finishing strength. I think this was a really good showing of how they play to the end. They refuse to drop their heads. They refuse to give up. There was a point there at a little bit in the start of the third quarter where they looked like they were just going through the motions a little bit, and then they really brought that back. And I think that's a credit to both the coaching and the leadership of the Japanese side, and those more experienced players really getting their team to bring that energy back and say, regardless of this being really a training event and an event that doesn't have medals behind it, we're going to treat this as just as important and just as valuable.
Yeah, you can see in the background these two teams pretty close. As the entire training and coaching staffs are out on the floor, shaking hands with the officials. Big last quarter from the Japanese, 20 points to 6. They dominated that last quarter, and they'll be certainly feeling much better about themselves as we have a look at some of the raw statistics. Japan with the 20 made 2-point field goals to Australia's 16, but of course Australia picking up the difference there with 5 successful threes. Rebounding, Australia continued or maintained their dominance in the second half, a 14 rebound margin. But courtesy of that last quarter, Campbell, the turnover count got a little out of control for Australia.
Yeah, I suspect that's a conversation they're going to be having a little bit later once they'll let them have their win, come off the win, and then have a few conversations about why that turnover count came up a little bit higher than it probably should have for how they were playing in the rest of the game and for how they conducted themselves.
So we get a look at some of the highlights from that second half. Laird was good, played a chunk of minutes tonight and did a great job in the absence of Tristan Knowles, pushing his claims for selection. Tom O'Neill-Thorne was sublime. That arguably the make of the game. His off the hip 3 on the turn. Kozai was great, created some stuff. Akashi for Japan, his usual persistent self. Tom Klein certainly made use of the minutes he was given as well. And there we are, Frank Pinder with that fantastic offensive rebound, always finding ways to score and contribute. Well, that's the end of the tournament for Japan and Australia, but as you can see in the background already, the Italians in their white uniforms getting ready for the championship game. It'll be Italy against Spain coming up shortly. And I think, Campbell, if this has done nothing else, it's really whetted the appetite, A, for the final, but B, for the World Championships coming up September. These teams in their early stages of preparation, but it's going to be a fantastic event. But we will be back shortly with the championship game. It'll be Italy and Spain. On behalf of Campbell Fraser, it's Brendan Parnell signing off from the Australian Institute of Sport.
Get what you really want with the new look Ford Ranger Wild Track. With its power roller shutter, stunning matrix LEDs and premium B&O 10-speaker sound system. And you'll also get a 4K fuel card. That's 4K to take you on even bigger adventures. Available at your participating Ford dealer now.
What's up everyone, Jalen Brown here. I'm currently over in Turkey for the 25-26 Turkish League. I'm excited to get back and kick off this new era of wheelchair basketball with you all. The 2026 season is going to be something special. Make sure you're following along here for updates while I'm overseas.